PrymalChaos. Hey guys, PrymalChaos here. I have a bone to pick with you guys. Some of my most popular videos on this channel are Pentatonix, and, you know, deservedly so. They're amazing and they garner an incredible audience of music nerds and vocal nerds and obviously people who love music that's emotional and elicits an emotional reaction, and therefore, you know, you like watching reactions to those things. But where were you guys when you didn't tell me they did The Sound of Silence? And how did I miss it? What? I don't even know how I missed this. It's like one of my all-time favorite songs. And I had no idea that Pentatonix did it. In fact, I was so perplexed. I was like, when I saw this thumbnail pop up, I was like, surely I've reacted to this. I must have, and just forgotten that I checked it out. But I actually, I Googled it, and sure enough, I haven't done it, right? And I'm like, this is so strange that like one of the most powerful, in my opinion, one of the most powerful and beautifully rich and dark songs that have ever been written by one of the greatest vocal groups in history. And I did not know about it, and I blame you guys. Now, I say that, but I'm sure that if I go back through all my Pentatonix comments, there's probably 100 people telling me to check this out. So if that was you, I apologize. I'm not talking to you. For many years, I actually mistakenly mistook the meaning for it being like a 60s anti-war protest song. But then at some point I reviewed the lyrics and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not about that at all. But I'll go into detail more about that sort of throughout the reaction, or maybe towards the end. But yeah, let's dive right in. Pentatonix, The Sound of Silence. I'm probably going to cry in this one, and that really bothers me. Why do I do this to myself, internet? Why? Here we go.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping
come on, man.
left its seeds while I was sleeping. And the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence.
And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share. And no one dare disturb the sound
Freaking
Thank you
knew
guys
it.
for watching our new video for Sound of Silence. We hope you loved it. We have very exciting news. We are going on a world tour. Oh, yeah. And you guys, tickets are available right now.
Are we coming to Australia?
Go
This is
grab
probably
those.
years old.
At PTX official.
Oh my god. Oh, why? I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. So there's so many idiosyncratic Pentatonix things that are there open to discussion there. You know, like things like, I love how they put in the drum rhythm. It's kind of like a marching beat, right? Which is, I guess, I'm thinking back, I haven't actually heard the original Simon and Garfunkel one for a really long time. But it makes sense, but it still has kind of a groove to it, which is sort of different. And at first I was kind of like, okay, it's got a thing. But where it's powerful is it builds a tempo that they can then pull away from. And so then you have these sort of rhythmic ebbs and flows, and it sort of allows them to, because if everything's floaty, then nothing's floaty. But if you have a regimented, strict sort of timing, and then you pull away from that, suddenly you've got growth and power and depth and all these other things. Obviously, all of their voices are absolutely stunning, but the power with these guys always comes from those harmonic choices that they make in those big sweeping sort of motions where they lift and elevate, right? That's what gets me. That's the thing that's the power of the sound to me that gets me. I gotta say that it's that the emotional connection for me with this particular version is the sound of it, right? It's the way that they bring their voices together to create harmony that's so rich in emotion and power that it forces you to feel something, right? Where there's a disconnect for me, and this isn't a criticism, this is just, I don't think that there's any other way these guys could do this and remain true to themselves, where they sort of got the vibe to match, I think, the original intention of the song. What's going on is there's this exaltation, right? It sounds like they're singing a hymn, a joyful hymn praising the Lord or something, right? It's those soaring voices and beautiful high harmonies and the richness and all that. But the song itself, it's darker than that, right? So lyrically, again, I mentioned earlier that I mistook the meaning of the song for many, many years. And then I looked into the lyrics, and to me, the song, even though like I've since looked it up and there's not really a solid answer from Simon or Garfunkel about the meaning, but essentially it's about the wheel of progress. At least to me, this is my interpretation, right? The wheel of progress is moving such, and again, this was I guess the late 60s, right? Maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, because I can't remember exactly, but the wheel of progress is moving, and that's sort of pointed out by the neon light. When my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night, right, and touched the sound of silence. It's like that progress. So like now everything is about like consumerism and things, But then people talking without listening, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening. Everybody's just yammering on. There's no substance to communication anymore. And I mean, this couldn't be more pertinent now, because so much ephemeral nonsense is just thrown about on the internet and through social media, that this song couldn't be more poignant in history than it is right now. And I mean, let me read that again, right? People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people saying so much and meaning so little, and people hearing and taking in so much information, but they're not listening to the message or the underlying thing, or they're not contextualizing things in a way that gives the topics of conversation any rooted meaning, right? And so that's why I think the original Simon and Garfunkel one, which sort of has the feel of a protest song, right? When I first visualized it, and in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more, right? I visualized a crowd, like a festival crowd of people protesting the war, right? And holding a candlelight vigil, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Like it's a moment of silence for the world and for peace and things like that. And that's kind of where I went off the rails as far as my interpretation of the song went. But now looking back at it and sort of understanding the lyrics more, it's more about just communication in general. It got to the point where everybody sort of became less unified and more about the individual and about, you know, spruiking themselves as opposed to, you know, thinking about everyone as a whole. And just the art of communication. Like, people literally used to entertain themselves by sitting around and telling each other stories and, you know, or just talking and expressing their feelings and emotions. And now it's like, it's all just ephemeral nonsense. It's just all Simpsons quotes, and not that there's anything wrong with that. That's 80% of my lexicon is Simpsons quotes. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's not the same as it once was, right? The concept of sharing ideas used to be the fundamental thing, and now it's like nobody likes anyone else's ideas. They're all just like, I'm just gonna spew my ideas out into the world, into the void, and it just all disappears. It just dissipates in amongst the noise. And so, getting back to this particular reaction, the music is beautifully powerful, and it has kind of like a melancholiness to it, but I think that there's other versions of this song that hit the nail on the head as far as the meaning of the actual words, because like even Disturbed's version to a degree is interesting because it feels really dark. You know, it feels like morose. It feels like there's a sense of loss. And that is really interesting from a band that people probably write off as just being some dumb rock band. They really hit the nail on the head with that song. And, you know, that's as much as I want to say on that, because art is always interpreted by the artist. Anytime you reproduce something that someone else has done, you're going to put your spin on it. You're going to put it through your prism. And so I'm not saying any of this is a criticism to Pentatonix or this particular cover. It's just, for me personally, I connect more with this song when sonically it has kind of like that darkness and richness to it, as opposed to this absolutely beautiful and stunning exaltation of human achievement and energy, right? But yeah, that's all I want to say on that, because I don't want it to take away from how I feel about this reaction, as far as like, it's absolutely stunning. It's beautiful. I could listen to it all day long. Standing on its own as its own thing. I mean, these guys just have this power to do things with 5 voices that just don't make sense. You know, like you hear a lot of a cappella and it's all amazing, you know, like Voice Play and Home Free and all of those guys. They're all absolutely stunning, but to me, there's just something about Pentatonix that just is special. And I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing for me. Maybe it's the choices they make harmonically. Maybe it's the arrangement of different voices that they have at their disposal. I really don't know. But there's definitely passion there. And there's definitely a heartfelt honesty and, like I said, a joyful exuberance that I think what it is they just can't help but do it that way. I mean, you listen to Mary Did You Know and things like that. And to me, that's more of the flavor that suits these lyrics, right? But again, they still manage to make your heart sing, right? No matter what they do, it's almost their default setting. They can't help but do that. And there's so much beauty in that. But I just want to jump through a few things and try to remember, because the whole time I wanted to stop it and talk, but at the same time I didn't want to stop it, right?
Still remains.
Oh, the dynamics are so good.
Of silence.
And I've talked before about pinpoint accuracy in those little staccato articulations. And I mean, look, if you're an amazing classically trained or perfect singer who practices 40 hours a week and stuff like that, I'm not talking to you, right? You understand that this is possible and how it's just training and it's exercises and all that sort of stuff. But for the average layperson or bog average singer like myself, listening to them hit those articulations with such purity and clarity and confidence, it's otherworldly to me. It's so incredible.
Dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, 'neath the halo turn my collar to the cold and damp.
It's interesting. Now that I listen to that, and I might just be hearing things, but it seems like all of those sort of rhythm parts in the background, like not the rhythm like the drum rhythms, but like the chord harmonies. It seems to me that they're more based around the bass line. And you can hear, because it's like they sort of move through do, 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 and then they do, 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 they go up or whatever. I don't know the particular scale. But they're moving through all of these chord choices, but it seems centered around what the bass is doing. If you listen to it again.
Neath the halo of a street lamp, I turn my collar to the cold and damp. When my eyes were stabbed.
It's almost like you got the lead vocal and then you got the bass, and everyone else is kind of supporting the rhythm section there, which is the bass and the drum part. But it could be, I mean, that's how music works. But for some reason, I'm hearing it specifically from that perspective in these little moving parts.
By the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence.
And in the naked light I saw.
I love how he pulls out the full voice there. That's so beautiful.
Maybe more people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share, and no one dare.
You know what could be special about these guys? That point of difference is like, I mean, they're all spectacular singers, but I think some of those big lofty kind of parts that sort of, that's what I was talking about, how it lifts your heart and makes your heart sing. I think it's just the combination of Kirsten and Mitch. I mean, again, supported by everybody else, but if you hear those big explosions of color.
Without listening, people writing songs.
It's that two-part harmony way up top. It's just, oh, it's so good.
No one dare disturb the sound of silence. Of silence.
Fool said you do not know.
Can we just appreciate the choices made there with the chords?
Of silence. Of silence.
Fool said you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words are like silent raindrops fall.
Oh, the texture. It's so good. I keep saying it's so good, but it is. What do you want from me?
Of silence.
In the people mountain
I got to stop. Otherwise, I'm just going to watch the whole thing again. Oh, man. Now, don't let my earlier comments about how the song connects to the lyrics distract you from how much I absolutely love this. I didn't mean it to sound like I was disappointed or anything, because I'm not. Just from a critical perspective, I have to find things to talk about. And for me, that was kind of a thing that stands out about this performance, is how different it is from other covers of this song. And that's not to take anything away from the execution and the intent and the passion and everything behind this, because out of everybody who's done it, I feel like by those metrics, this is a standout performance of this song. But it's just like, as I mentioned right at the top, this is one of my all-time favorite songs, because it's, even in its most simplistic form, it's so important and it's so heartfelt and it's so impassioned. And so all Pentatonix are guilty of is bringing the gravitas and the passion and the importance and the, you know, all of those adjectives that sort of come together to mean why that song is important, right? And so there's zero criticism for me. I'm in no position to criticize anyone in this group or anyone involved in this project. When you use the words world class, it has a connotation of they're really good, but I don't think that there's many other acts in the world that you could specifically apply world class to and have the meaning be so accurate as it is with these guys. Yeah, they're on a whole other plane. They stand alone. They're doing their own thing. In a world of what seems to be endless talent and ability, these guys somehow still manage to raise the bar. Yeah, that's about all I got to say. Thank you so much again. I love all you guys for always supporting my Pentatonix reactions, because as you can see, it works for me too, right? If you feel like I brightened your day at all, feel free to support the channel. Just buy me a coffee. I'll leave a link in the description. Or, you know, like, share, follow, subscribe, anything you can do to help push this as well. I've recently been talking a lot about doing interviews on this channel, and I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to interview an amazing artist named Rao Reynolds from a band called Enter Shikari, who are a UK sort of rock EDM sort of band. And they're definitely worth your time. But if you want to see me be able to interview more people, the best thing you can do is help support me by going and finding that interview, Rao Reynolds, R-O-U Reynolds, on my channel, and just give that a quick look and see if it's the kind of thing you'd like to see applied to some of your favorite artists, because the more attention that gets, the more chance I have of doing this with other artists. So again, thank you very much, guys. Stay primal. I'll catch you on the next one.